Welcome to the Mommy Collective. I'm Paulina Rowe, radio host, TV contributor, writer, and mom of one. This is where ambitious moms come to keep their identity intact while navigating motherhood. Here we talk about the real stuff: career, money, relationships, identity, and everything that gets messy in between. You won't find sugarcoating or cliches. What you will find are unfiltered conversations, real resources, and proof that you don't have to lose yourself to be a good mom. The Mommy Collective is here to remind you can be ambitious, you can take up space, and you can thrive in motherhood and in everything else that makes you, you. Before we get into the episode, make sure you're following the Mommy Collective on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and share this podcast with a mommy in your life who needs a little inspiration or just a reminder that she's killing it. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and leave us a review so we can keep showing up and reach every ambitious mom out there doing big things. Let's get into it. All right, Paulina here, back with Mommy Collective, and today I am so excited for my guest, Jennifer Molina. How are you today?
Doing fantastic. I can't think of a better thing to be doing right now other than with you.
Stop it. I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm excited. Thank you.
I'm excited because I know who you are. Obviously, we've spoken before. You sponsored the Mommy Collective first year anniversary event. You spoke on stage. You were very inspiring, but now I'm like, I have to dig a little deeper. I have to get to like really know you. And I want you to share your story because I know it's an incredible one. We've actually, you and I think had like a whole hour conversation, I think, like before the event. I just remember we couldn't stop talking to each other. I'm like, we can talk all day. And your story was just so inspiring. And I love everything that you're doing. You're a mom to two little ones, I believe. They're under 3, right?
So my oldest, Isabel, she's 3. And then I have a almost 9-month-old now. He's, so he is growing quickly and I was about to say he's almost 1, which is crazy to think. I know it's so cliche. People say like, I can't believe it, but it's true. Like you really can't, like I just gave birth to him.
100%.
But he's almost 9 months.
That is amazing. First of all, yes, I don't know how you do it, but you're doing it. You have these 2 little ones. They are so adorable, by the way, and they're so cute. And I'm sure it's a lot of work, though. I'm sure you're tired. I'm sure by like 5 o'clock, you're like, oh my God.
Yes. And I think what a lot of people forget is like kids cycle through like so many things. Like for example, like there's like something that's called like regressions, right? You probably heard of this, like, oh, he's in his 4-month regression or what. And I was looking at this video the other day. They were like, oh, there's a 4-month, a 5-month. Like it was kind of like a funny thing, but like it's
every month.
Anything that you have, like if they're not sleeping overnight, it's called like a regression. And I'm like, I think he's like in his 8-month regression at this point. Cause I'm like, why are you not sleeping?
Oh no.
But yeah, no, it's tough with the whole sleeping routine and whatnot. And also they say number 2 is they're a little bit more wild. I don't necessarily think of him that way just yet. Cause his personality is still developing. Yeah. But I would say with his sleep schedule, I have not, like, we're a little bit all over the place. So that's been, I would say, like a tough part on our end from
100%. Well, you're doing amazing. And, you are a lender with guaranteed rate. So you are a busy woman. And I know you are because I've purchased like with you guys in the past before and stuff with my investment property and then my property here, which I want to dive into, like all the benefits of doing stuff like that too. And kind of what the market looks like today. But I know it's a lot because I know for me, if I'm over here like signing papers and doing this and that, I can't imagine what it looks like on your end, and I've always wondered that.
Yeah, no, I think some people don't realize like the amount of people that it's not just me either, like, but the amount of people that are working the back end for one loan. It's not just me. So there's like the loan goes through many, many hands. And even after you close, there's still like a whole other department and set that goes after. It's called like the after closing. So even then it's like, it kind of keeps going. There's really not, from your side, from like the consumer side, there's like an end, but from our side, like there's a little bit more after the fact or after the closing. So yeah,
100%. Oh, Jennifer, I love it. So really quickly, if you don't mind, give us a little bit of a background about yourself. Like where did you grow up? Sort of like how did your trajectory go with like school or whatever it was that you did? But then also like how you kind of got here today.
I love that question. And it's honestly one of my favorite questions because not a lot of people know that I was actually born and raised in Ecuador. So I was there until I was 8 years old. And my husband and I kind of talk about this all the time, but I'm like, I didn't really realize of what was going on. Like when we decided to move to Chicago when I was 8, I didn't conceptualize of what was actually happening. I remember there's like flashes of like me getting in like a car to go to the airport and like, but I don't think I even realized there was like this whole other world over here that I had no idea about. So I moved when I was 8. It was a shock. Like I kid you, imagine not speaking English. I could still smell like the school smell, like the first, like if I got here like on a Thursday, I started school like on a Friday. That was like, I did not have like I came on September 4th. So school had already started, I believe like September 2nd or something. So I had already lost like a couple of days from like the first day of school. So when the day that I got here, I started school the very next day. Like I was not eased like in any sort of way, like, oh yeah, let's take a week off and go look around. No, like we started school right away. So that was tough. I mean, learning the language. But I grew up in Albany Park. I've always lived in the north of Chicago. Ever since I came to Chicago. So my family has always my dad's family more, particularly they've lived in Albany Park. We also invest like in Albany Park, but I now also live near Albany Park. So ever since I moved here, I've lived in the north side of Chicago. I eventually went to UIC. I got my finance degree there in 2015 or something. And I started working in corporate America. I started with like Kraft Heinz in their finance department. More specifically, I don't know if you guys remember, or if you probably remember this brand, but like the Oscar Mayer brand. It's called like, it was called, the big brand was Kraft Heinz was the parent company, but like the sub brand was Oscar Mayer. That's who I worked for. And yeah, I mean, it was a good run while I was there. And I think if I would have been in a different one, like state of mind, like now what I know, I might have stayed there longer, because I may not have felt the same way that I do now. For example, like I felt like I didn't belong working in like corporate America. Like I would sit in a table with like 99% of them were like men, white men. Yep. There was another like one or two other women in finance that would sit there, but like, again, people that didn't look like me. And I would sit there in those tables. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Do I belong? Like, if you ask me that now, I feel, more empowered, more confident, but I'm in my 30s now. So I think it's different. But back then, getting out of college, I always, and that's part of the things that I would hope to, pass on to my daughter, future generations, a sense of like belonging. You really, truly do have a sit on the table. You know what I mean? But that was tough. Kind of, the corporate America time that I was there. So I was there for like, I think like 4 years maybe. Okay. And then I went to work for a family business with my dad. I stayed there for like 2 years. Within all this time, it's really where my interest for purchasing a property, and because I went to live in Madison, Wisconsin when I started working for Kraft Heinz, and then I moved back to Chicago. So when I moved back, I was like, I'm not going to go back to live with my parents anymore.
I get that.
But in my head, I was like, let me go and like rent something. And at that point, my dad said, why don't you just buy something? And I swear to God, Paulina, it was the thought or even purchasing something didn't even cross my mind. I didn't think that was like, I thought you purchase a property once you're married, once you've been in your job for 10 years. Like, I thought you needed a whole lot, like that thought of like purchasing right after, I think I was in my job for like 1 or 2 years already, like with Kraft Heinz. But my dad's like, why are you going to rent? Just purchase something. And he really is the one that kind of triggered that in me. I bought a multi-unit. And ever since, once I started working with my dad, we kind of started investing more properties, multi-unit properties. And it really piqued my interest. I went to work for the loan officer that that we were purchasing with, the one that we were working with. He kind of brought me along. I started working with him, and that's kind of how I started. A lot of people say like you kind of fall in, if you're working like real estate, especially like in the mortgage lending side, you don't necessarily like go to school for it. Like quote unquote, but you kind of
Right.
fall into this field. And that's kind of what happened to me. So, yeah, like it's been rewarding. I love helping people. I think the majority of like my clients are, like Latinos, are women, moms, like that's kind of like, I think just the people that I attract, because that's really who I like to help too. It's not that I can't help anybody else, but like, that's just, who are
100%.
people who are in my circle. Right.
Yeah, I love that. That's an incredible story. So I didn't know any of that. I mean, I knew you came from Ecuador, but I didn't know the trajectory of like what that
Yeah.
looked like. It seems like almost like you were destined to like kind of fall into this lane that you're in, the industry that you're in. And I love that you do help moms and Latinas. Like I think that that's such an underserved community. So like I feel like if I'm a mom, and I am a mom, I would feel personally, this is my hot take, but I would feel a little more comfortable working with somebody like you who's also a fellow mom, when it comes to like getting my finances right and getting what I need right to get approved, right, or pre-approved for a property or a home. And a lot of times too, like, when it comes to motherhood, I'm sure you've seen it all. I'm sure you've seen the single mom. I'm sure you've seen the stay-at-home mom who wants to buy a home now, right? I'm sure you've seen the mom who's, they just got married. Now they're having a family. Like you've seen it all walks of life.
Yes. And I think also, speaking about when you said you would want, somebody that looks like you, but like something that really kind of, to put it like slap you in the face, that like representation matters. My daughter the other day for Halloween, she looked at a Halloween costume, and in the picture she wears glasses. So she's stupid. She wears glasses. And in the picture, the person did not have glasses, and she took her glasses off and she threw them in the floor. And I'm like, Isa, what are you doing? She's like, no, you're not supposed to wear glasses in this costume. And I'm like, and I like quickly grabbed it, and like she didn't see me, like I drew glasses on it, and I'm like, no, look, he has like they have glasses on it. And she's like, oh, and she wore them. And I'm like, I know it's so silly, Paulina, but like I'm like, representation matters. Like this. Again, I know it might not be like the best example, but like it's just like, and then I have had other moms come to me, or like other Latinas too, like where they're like, oh, I've been in the website and I was looking for somebody, and like I thought of you. So those types of things, like, yes, I've seen the moms and everybody else like kind of have seen the whole shebang, but like it really is like who you feel comfortable with working, like making sure that you are, sometimes even the language, because I'm a Spanish speaker too. Sometimes they want to bring in their parents, right? So like the mom or dad wants to be a little more involved, but they may be more comfortable with the Spanish language on their side. So, that's also another big thing. Like I feel that I've been blessed and like really well taken care of at Rate, because we've invested in like with Latinos. So like we especially now where you're seeing companies kind of backing away from it, we're putting a lot of like money into like the Latino and investing into like the language programs and whatnot. So I'm really proud of that too.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So you're doing all of this on top of, being a mother and raising two little ones. You mentioned, you have a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old daughter, I'm sorry, and then a 9-month-old son. So how did pregnancy and even postpartum kind of reshape your calendar, your capacity, and then of course, like your client work, right? How did that reshape everything?
Yeah. So things that I didn't think about before, because I was breastfeeding. I breastfed both kids.
Wow.
So my career has been, or my field is very flexible if you wanted to work from home, and but at least for me, I always feel that I'm a little more productive if I'm working from the office. But for example, with Isa, my oldest, things that you kind of, it's unfortunate, but like things you kind of have to change is that like I couldn't breastfeed her after 8 months, because I started going back to the office at like 8 months, not because I was required, but I just felt more productive there. And I just didn't like, pumping in the office and doing all that stuff in the office. I was like, I stopped. So that affects me, as a mom sometimes, and as my daughter, like I would have loved to kept breastfeeding her for like, I don't know, 12 until she was a year or whatnot. But see, those are things that I didn't think about. Like, oh, hey, I may have to like stop if I go back to the office. With Gabriel, a little bit different. He's same. Like I also started doing like breastfeeding, but like my schedule has definitely changed where I'm working more from home. But something else that my husband and I know highly underestimated was childcare.
Yeah.
We knew we needed childcare, but like we didn't realize how expensive childcare is. One, Isa's already going to pre-K 3, which helps, but like we were thinking of moving to like the suburbs at some point. And when we started looking at around like childcare, we're like, it's ridiculous. Like we like seriously again slapped me in the face. Is like, wow, how are moms doing this? Like how are like I'm really, really blessed that I have somebody like a family member that helps with like Gabriel, and that helps quite a bit. And then Isa in the pre-K 3, but like I couldn't imagine putting her with like, in a daycare or both of them in daycares. Like those are really expensive things to do for anybody, honestly, not just like, me or whatever, like anybody. I think it's expensive depending on, where you're putting them. But so that has changed to where we had to get, Isa went to pre-K 3. I've had to stay, I'm working from home now more than what I used to, instead of like, I used to be more at the office. And then I would say like thankfully I get to see my kids, not as much as I want to, but like, because, you have to schedule, you have to work, but like,
right.
You have to balance those things. Like I've been lucky enough to be home, at least for the most recent time.
I think that's awesome. I think that's actually incredible, especially too, like we're parenting like in the post-COVID world. So I'm sure like that probably changed, before the babies were here, and now it's like, now it's like childcare is expensive. We all know that. Diapers, formula, girl, everything is up, and it is so hard. So I totally get that. I'm grateful for the village. Any help that I get from like my family, like my mom, my suegra, like I'm like, you guys want a kidney? You guys want an organ? Like whatever you want, you can have. Like that's where I'm at, So I totally get you. And what about like boundaries? Boundary setting, right? Like, do you set now that you didn't maybe set pre-children? Can you think of any, whether they're personal boundaries, like work boundaries?
I think when you work from the office, you have more boundaries than working from home. That's just my personal take. I would literally, if you're coming home, you're actually leaving, I don't know, 6 o'clock from the office, you kind of have to shut your computer off at like, to at least come home, right? So you come home, you have the dinner, you do all this stuff. When you're working from home, I think that you don't, like, you lose that. Like you there's like a more of a blurred line where I just quickly run upstairs and like, or bring my lunch while I'm working. Yeah. Like those type of boundaries I've lost. Like, for example, during like for eating, I'm like eating like while I'm working at the same time, where before maybe I would have taken a break, right? Or for dinner, sometimes I if I have a call at like 6 or 7 o'clock when it's like dinner time, I may be like, eating in my office again. Like those boundaries, I think I've lost like with like eating, and that's on me. And I've told my husband, like, I love, one of my favorite things, like eating as a family. I love doing that. And I think that I really want to like get back to that. And I tell him all the time, like, one of my favorite things, like, I like sitting in the table together and like eating together. So whenever that doesn't happen, I feel bad. And I do want to get back to that. So I'll say like that boundary I've lost. I don't know if that's one of the boundaries you're talking about, but that's one of the boundaries I've lost. And then the other boundary I would say, like, we've been good with, like, for example, like, we're able to separate like where we work versus like where my kids are, like on the second floor. So that has been good too, where like I am able to kind of keep work in one space instead of like taking it all around the house. Because that is a problem with some people where, like, you are working and like, you don't want to be working in your bedroom like that. You're completely losing your boundary there. But yeah, so I think I've so far, the biggest thing for me is like being able to like keep my family time, especially for like dinner. That's I would say like that's my to do or my work in progress for me, and like the boundary I've lost, but we'll get there.
No, and that's like honest, Yeah. I completely get that. And you'll work on it. Things are going to evolve. They always say it's true. Like, my baby's little too, so 18 months, but this isn't forever. Like, this all isn't forever. So I do feel like things will change. Like, I'm sure when they're both your kids are in school, they're like 6 and 9 or whatever, like 10 and 7, it's going to just be a different era, a different phase, things will be a little different. But But no, I love that. That's real. What does a typical week look like for you during your busy season versus slow season? But also, when is slow season and when is busy? Or is it always just kind of busy on the go?
So winter for overall for like the real estate market, I think winter tends to be like a slower market. December, January are probably my slowest months. Holidays and like winter, I like right after holidays in January are my slowest months. So those I would say like in a typical week, we may not be talking to clients as much during like, as like pre-qualification calls or whatnot, but like on a busy, like any other month during the year, I've been proactive about like helping my clients automatically set up like an appointment with me. So we're not going like that back and forth, but like typically like my week would be, or my job, for example, is attract more clients, right? Like that's really what I want to do and talk to as many people as I can. Clients, and then build relationship with real estate agents. So that's what I want to do. That's what I like to do. And I'm either talking with, getting a pre-approval done, sending a pre-approval, or connecting with an agent, meeting with an agent. I do like to do that. Like if I do have like during the day, I like to go and like meet like an agent during lunch or, having that connection. I try to do that because one, it gets me out of the house, and two, I'm building relationships with them. So to me, those are like relationship partners. And the other things, like once we do get like a loan, I know, and this kind of goes back to when I said, there's more than me when we're working on a loan. So once we get like somebody has already gone under contract, quote unquote, they kind of go on to like our processors or like somebody else that's processing the loan, getting verifications. We kind of moves on. I kind of keep track of kind of what's going on, but I'm not doing the busy work. Like I'm not in like, I do ask for like pay stubs and whatnot, but like that, I try to stay away as much from that because that's not, my job is like to bring more business, not be in the business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, like we're sales, Paulina. So like I would say like on the phone a lot, making calls, and meeting with some of our referral partners is really what my job is during the week. But Saturday and Sundays, we don't really stop working. Like I don't really have like a set time, and that's part of why I'm saying like sometimes I'm meeting, like yesterday I had a call like until 7, I think it was. So we don't have like a 8 to 5 and that's it, goodbye. Or Saturday or Sunday, sometimes I get a call like, hey, I need a pre-approval because I just saw a house. Then I have to work on Saturday or Sunday. And that's okay. Like that's just the way that our work goes. And you just kind of have to, my husband has been amazing where he doesn't work in the weekend. So like if I do have to meet a client over the weekend, then he takes the kids and then I go and meet them. And I think, again, we forget of that support sometimes. Like, hey, we do have like, if it's not him, it may be my mom or whatnot. But like having that support system, like you said, here, take a kidney, because I wouldn't be able to do this. I kid you not. How would I go and meet a client if I don't have somebody to like, watch Gabriel or Isabel or whoever it may be at that point? And yeah, like I props to like single mom. I seriously cannot imagine.
I know. I think about that a lot. Like, it sounds like we're a very similar situation. Like, I mean, I'm being like funny, but like I could call my mom or my suegra and like, you're right. Like, give me 20 minutes and I got a babysitter. I know that I'm so used to that, but I have to remember that is not the reality, to be transparent. So shout out to the village. Cause
and you know what? And I think as us as moms, we also have to think about the reverse side, right? So is there anybody else in our circle who may need that support? So you know what I mean? Like if you have, I know my sister's not a single mom, but like, for example, like, she told me, I think end of the year, she's going to go, I don't know, she's going to go to I'm like, hey, like if you need somewhere with the kid, like let me know. Like sometimes like just making that offer up front helps. And especially if you have moms that may be like, single moms that may not have that flexibility. And if you're going to have like, a weekend where you're going to take the kids out or whatever, offering that help, right? I know it's tough sometimes, but be that person, right? Or be that village for somebody else too, if you have that village, so somebody may not have it. But yeah, I think about that too all the time.
I love that. I've been saying that more lately about like my biggest goal. I know like we're recording this and it's November, so the year is kind of coming to an end. But in 2026, one of my goals is to be a better villager. I'm like, I've kind of been a shitty villager, and I've owned it. You know, I'm not definitely showing up for people, and that's not even just like for other moms. It's just even my friends without kids who might have like events and things that are important to them. I'm like, I want to show up for you because you come to my kids' things, you come to my stuff, mommy collective events. I'm like, let me go do and support what you do. Because I've been doing a real shitty job, and I can find every excuse in the book of why I can't go here and can't do that, you know? And it's like, no, I want to be more present for people. So you're right. I want to show up for the moms that may not have the village. And I also want to show up for just like people who support me, you know, and vice versa and stuff. I think it's important. It's just like my own little personal goal that I'm trying to make.
I couldn't think of a better goal either, because I 100% agree with you. There's people that, and not just, you know, now we're going to go into some other topic, but like, not just like, I'm thinking of moms, but like our community overall just needs like that village right now. And sometimes even just saying like, do you need a meal today? Or do you need, like, what do you need? It goes a long way. Like there's, especially like right now, again, I know we're recording this, so it may not be as like, or maybe, hopefully not, but like,
right.
You know, some people may need like a meal or whatnot. And so that's asking and, you know, being more in tune with your community is more prevalent than ever right now as well.
100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. No, that's very real. So Jennifer, for like tools and systems, things that kind of keep you sane, what's kind of like your cheat code to doing this? Because I do believe that a lot of moms, like I'm a DoorDash lady. Sometimes I get groceries delivered because I'm just like, I'm not doing
I haven't been to the grocery store in like, Paulina, I haven't, you probably think I'm kidding, but it's probably been like maybe over 6 months that I have not like touched a grocery store like in such a long time. I get my groceries delivered. Like I really
love
do.
it.
And I'm sorry, I cut you off. I don't know if you were going to say anything else, but I'm like,
I was going to say like, what are your tools? Like what, I mean, if you like even look at your phone, like what are the apps that you use? Like, when it comes to like work, right? So like I'm a big calendar girl. If it's not in the calendar, it's not happening. I'll forget. So like, what do you use? Like DoorDash, Instacart, like what are you using like for kids? Like what do you do usually?
So for example, with my husband, I 100% agree with the calendar, and you have to sync in your husband to use the calendar.
Yep.
So I think we started this like a couple years. I think once when Isa was born, because before we didn't need to put the kids in, or it doesn't matter, right? But like once Isa was born, we were like so religious about any family matter, anything that we need, it goes in the calendar and the shared calendar. So we both kind of use that. It has been great. We use Sam's. I mean, anything that's like, I don't use Instacart, or any other, like we use like either Sam's, we have like the Walmart app, we have,
I have Target.
I don't have Target, but like I do have like, I think like the Sam's is probably the one that I use. Sam's and Walmart are probably the ones that I use the most.
I love it.
Just to get the stuff delivered, because I cannot go. If I'm working from like 8 to like 7, I don't have time to go. I swear, but I think I'm very simple, Paulina. Like I'm thinking of like what other apps and stuff I use. God, hold on. Like you probably think I'm crazy, but like other than like, you know, the apps for work.
No. Or even like meals or like automations and stuff. Like I feel like, help at home. I used to have a couple, like, I mean, for me, mostly I'm looking at mine now because I'm always so curious about other moms. I'm like, what do you use? Honestly, that's the one.
That's a great question. And I would love to get like, if you once, you know, this goes out and people start chiming in, I need to know what other people are using, because I'm going through and like, I probably am one of those people with the least amount of apps ever, because I don't have that many things like, in terms of like automation and stuff like that. But my Isa, because she goes to pre-K now, we don't really entertain her during the day as much anymore. Like, so she's pretty chill once she gets home. So yeah, like we like Disney, like we'll put like the Disney app, sometimes
I love when they start discovering like Disney
chill for a second if we need to.
Yeah. I love a show. I love an app.
Yeah. The Disney app.
Yes.
For
I
sure.
love when they like start to like find the people they love though. It's like my favorite. Like the characters they like. Like that's been my favorite part so far. It's so cute.
She's gonna but your daughter is just starting in that stage, I think, probably because I think from now on you're gonna start seeing that even more. But yeah, no, I think the character season of your life once the kids start, it's the best. Like Isa still like she still likes a lot of things, but like there's specific things that she likes because of the movies. She's been, she likes Incredibles and Toy Stories and whatnot. But and it's really cool to see. I love that. But
it's the
so we're definitely a Disney family. And it was a little tough when the whole Disney and NBC or ABC, I forgot, whatever. It was like, oh no.
Oh,
but
I remember that. Yes. I was like, please no. But I get it, right?
I was on the verge of like deactivate because I was like, but we use it so much. But you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Oh no, 100%. So we kind of dived a little bit into this. We dove a little bit into it, but I'm curious, how does being a mom sort of make you a better lender, right? Like that point person. How does that make you better for families? Like, is it the perspective you bring to the table? Is it something, because I know we obviously kind of talked about it, or like, you help moms in different phases of life, right? Obviously more than just moms, but you've seen it all. So sort of like from your perspective, how does that kind of work, right? How does being a mom make you better at your job?
So personally, I believe when you become a mom, you stop thinking about yourself and now you start thinking about your kids. So now when my husband and I started investing and we started like buying buildings, we might have thought of like the building for like ourselves, but now we kind of switched our mindset and like the building that we're buying is now for our kids. The building we're buying, one is for Isabel, another one could be for Gabriel. It's like a wealth building machine that we're doing, right? For like our kids now, for our generation. So we've switched our thought process of just buying buildings or like getting rental income for like becoming, we want to become rich or whatever. No, it's because like building wealth for our future generations and our future families. And that really translates to how I coach my clients, like especially people that are young, people that are just starting, and they may want to buy, they're between a single family home and a multi-unit, I get to coach them. All right, well, is this something that you want to do? Is this something that you want to do long-term? Do you want to build wealth for your family? So it may be better for you to start with a multi-unit property. So being able to give them that perspective from my end and kind of between my husband and what we do now, we're starting like, to flip some properties now. We're going to start, doing, we always like investing in multi-unit properties, but like that's the perspective I'm able to bring to the table for future like parents per se, or people that are parents, like stop, like it's no longer about you, and it is about you, but like at the same time, but like it's no longer about you, but like now you're starting to think about your kids, and that's kind of what happened to my husband and I.
Oh, no, yeah, but that's real. And that absolutely does change that perspective. And I love that. So I kind of want to talk about the current, I don't know what to really call it, the current sway, like the current climate, I guess, like of like where we're at with like home buying and stuff. So right now it's November, end of the year of 2025, right? So what are we seeing right now as far as people purchasing homes? If they, are at what speed, but also, what do you guys anticipate happening, once the new year kicks in 2026?
That's a great question. So historically overall, we're kind of going into what I was saying, like the winter market. So it tends to be the slower market overall, usually, but like, besides the winter market, we are seeing a little bit of more inventory, like more properties that are being in the market for a little bit longer. So what that's doing is like, it's giving the buyer a little bit more power to purchase. So, and what I mean by that is like, because if a property now is sitting a little bit longer in the market, then the buyer could potentially get that property for a little bit less in price, or, negotiate some credits from the seller. So that just gives the buyer a little bit more power. And the other thing is, if you see a property being listed in the winter or, in December, January, what does that tell you about the seller? That tells you that they really need to sell, or else they would, sell it in spring. Like they would sell it March, April, May, June. Like those are key prime times to sell property. But like if you're selling it in January, that means like, again, they really need to sell. And as the buyer, you may have a little bit more of an upper hand in being able to make before offering that, that seller, whatever price you're going to do. But overall, that's kind of what we're seeing. We are seeing a properties like a little bit longer in the market. Rates did come down in the last week. Today was not the best day. And I don't want to say any like numbers because just timing wise, it may not be where we are by the time this goes out. But we've had some favorable gains in the market with rates. So personally, I do think rates are heading in the right direction. The Fed did cut rates earlier. I think like 2 weeks ago. So hopefully, rates stabilize. I think we just need a normal market. Like what I mean by that is like, I hate seeing like if today's a 6, tomorrow 6.5, the day after it's a 7%. I think that instability is really what hurts buyers because we want to, I mean, if we're going to be at like a 6.5, let's just be at 6.5, but like that's stable. But once you have that instability in the market, that's really when the confidence is low. And I feel that that's kind of where we are too. Like from a buyer's perspective, some confidence is low because they don't feel like the economy is where it should be. And I totally understand that. Like if I put myself in the shoes of people that are trying to purchase right now, I may not feel like it's the right time because, right. Everything that's happening outside, if you see people like, getting chased and whatnot, like you feel a little bit scared. So you may put a pause on it. So unfortunately from that end, I feel like the confidence is low. There's still like people are still buying. I will say like people are still buying. We're having properties every day where people are buying. Is just a little bit of everything kind of coming together with like the winter market's coming, properties are sitting a little bit longer, and then like confidence is a little bit low from the buyer's end, unfortunately.
No, yeah. I get that. And I can definitely see why, like you said, yeah. And, truly God willing, like 2026, like things look up because I just feel like I want to see people, like getting to the homes they want to be in, or their first homes. And I kind of want to really quickly dive into that too. And I know this might be a very complex answer depending on like, people's situations and stuff, but a mom is listening right now to our episode. They're listening to us talk and she wants to buy a home, right? First time home buyer, she may or may not be married. I know that makes it a little bit different. Can you run us through some scenarios of what that looks like for somebody who's never purchased their home or a property and they're looking to do that for their first, home? Yeah.
So I think the speaking with a lender can sometimes feel a little like nerve-wracking, if I put it, like, if I can say that, like, one, you feel a little, I'm putting myself in the shoes of kind of how I felt before, like, you're vulnerable because you're going to have to give all your information to this person, right? And that's really my job to not make you feel that way. Or any lender like any lender that you're going to speak with, like, you really should feel comfortable with this person because what our job is to get you in the door. Like, so speaking with a lender, that should be the first thing you're going to do. There should not be any charge or anything with speaking with somebody. Like, if you are getting charged something, like, look for somebody else. But speaking with a lender, really the first thing that you should do, because we're going to be able to tell you where you are financially. Like, we're going to look at your credit. We're going to look at where your income is, what you could afford right now. Now, this doesn't mean that you go and buy right now. This could mean, we put a plan together. Like, is your timeline 6 months, a year? So depending on what your timeline is, we will put that timeline together so you can get there. So the earlier that you could talk to a lender, it's the better. Sometimes people are like, oh no, I'm not, I'm looking to purchase next year. I'm just going to wait until next year. It may be too late because we may need to see, your tax returns next year. And we may need you to talk like in November before you file those tax returns. So the earlier you talk with a lender, the better for you to be situated, like, for the time that you're, ready to purchase. But, once we look at all that stuff, we'll give you the pre-approval. You'll start home shopping with a real estate agent. We are really a team. So the best case scenario here is that you're building your team on somebody that you have confidence in. That real estate agent has to be, your partner is going to be my partner too. So between the three of us, we're going to make a team. And if in one of those three people, you just like, you're not feeling it, like then it's off. So you have to be confident in your team. Once you find a property, you put an offer, you get in contract, and we'll work with you to like close on that property. And I know I'm simplifying a lot. But again, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the first thing is getting like some sort of a financial roadmap from a lender so that they could tell you what you need to do to be ready. You do not have to be ready at the time that you talk with a lender. I think that if there's something that I can like, leave anybody trying to purchase property, like is you do not have to be ready when you talk with a mortgage lender. We will get you ready to purchase a property. Like that's our job to do. So hopefully that, it's really simplistic and, I'm going a little quicker on this, but that's where I would start at least.
I love it. I think that's great advice. And correct me if I'm wrong too. And I think you mentioned this a little bit too, but like if you have the plan, right, or you have the vision of purchasing, you can go see Jennifer like 6 months even before you like do that, because you need to see what you're pre-qualified for. Because I can sit here on Zillow and look at houses all day. That doesn't mean I love it, and I'm not going to stop. But it doesn't mean that I can qualify for them because I don't know until I know. And then I think you guys get very specific to the point where I've had a lender. This is like when I first started. I'm talking like 5 years ago was COVID. So like I was just like literally like going, and my friend's like, hey, go see this lender guy. And I was like, okay. Did a soft credit pool thing. I think we got so specific that he was like, pay this credit card and this will, it was that specific.
Yes, we do. Those are called like simulators. We have like credit simulators. So I just did this yesterday with a client. So, we get like the credit score. And if for some reason we see that there's opportunity to raise the credit score, I prefer raising your credit score and for you to wait 1 or 2 months to purchase and get your score from like, I don't know, 580 to like a 600 or 620. I prefer doing that because you're going to get better terms than going with that lower credit score. And so we do run you through the simulator. We do raise your score. If there's opportunity, of course, and it's free. We don't have to, we don't charge anything extra for doing like the simulator. We don't charge anything up front to give you to do like just like a call or anything like that. So remember, like now I don't want to get into like fees and whatnot, but like that, the majority of that stuff gets paid at the time of closing. Yes. A lot of times you could get like down payment assistance, like, the state has down payment assistance, there's grants. So don't let that stop you. We can help you with credit. We can help you with down payment assistance. The thing that I tell the people most of the time is like, the only thing that we can help you with is like your work history and your job, because I can't physically go and get a job for you, but like, we'll help you everywhere else. But if you have a stable job, you're working, talk with the lender, because we can probably help you with everything else, like the down payment, the credit score, all that stuff. But like, the job, if you may need more time, like you may have to work on that, but you may be in the right track at that point.
100%. No, that's valid. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you for being here with me today, for helping, to kind of talk a lot of moms or just people listening through this process. And then obviously, being a mom on top of that is just, that's incredible. So Jennifer, where can we contact you if anybody wants to work with you, if they want to, start their pre-approval process, or just like, maybe they're like, no, I'm ready and I got pre-approved and I want to go here and we're doing this. Where can they contact you?
I would say follow me on Instagram, Home Loans by Jennifer. My phone number, can I say my phone number here?
Yeah.
773-697-1111. You can text me. That's my direct cell phone. But honestly, if you send me a DM on Instagram, like, again, Home Loans by Jennifer, I'd probably, quick, like, I think most of the people are on Instagram now.
I love it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Jennifer, thank you so much. We're so grateful for you to be in our community. And thank you for all your information and inspo today.
Thank you. It was it was really a pleasure being here, Paulina. Appreciate you.
You're so fun. Jennifer, thank you.